you want to set better boundaries and leave the good girl or good boy mask behind, then this video is for you. I'll show you how to tap into your inner spiritual warrior so that you can easily stand up for yourself, have more authentic relationships, and feel more respected and valued. I'm Karina, and welcome to my channel where we discuss practical ways to elevate our wellness from a mind, body, soul perspective. A lot of us who are committed to personal growth, to being the best versions of ourselves, and who may also be on a spiritual path where we're really committed to elevating our consciousness, we can sometimes fall into the trap of being quote unquote good, where we really care about others. We want to make a positive impact on them. We want to give freely and express our love. But sometimes that can get us into a little bit of trouble if we give away too much or our desires aren't respected because we're not honoring ourselves fully and inhabiting our own energy. And this can lead to a really uncomfortable inner conflict. And during those times, the cat claws can come out, where we're just starting to get into reaction mode. We're expressing all this pent up anger and frustration because of these very valid feelings of being violated, where someone has crossed a line, whether that be a partner, a family member, a friend, a work colleague, a boss, whatever it may be. And then after this angry outburst, we may feel really badly afterwards because we think we have to be this cool, calm, and collected and evolved person. But the truth is that being quote unquote good like this is not doing anyone any favors. We're not actually able to help anyone or have any real impact on the world if we're not first proactively setting our own boundaries. And that's where getting in touch with this inner spiritual warrior comes in. I've been a yogi for many years, a yoga teacher for several of those, and the spiritual warrior archetype is really central to the practice of yoga. In fact, thousands of years ago, yoga was actually used to train mercenaries, to train actual warriors. Whether or not you formally practice yoga, consciously shifting into the spiritual warrior state can really benefit anyone. Because defining your own boundaries to the point where you're feeling respected and appreciated in your relationships is really about getting more deeply in touch with your body. Ancient yogic texts say that we have tens of thousands of psychic channels running through the energetic field of our body. And what that means in simpler terms is that we are able to sense the world around us through our instinctual feelings that go beyond our 5 physical senses. And we develop those extrasensory skills by enhancing our body awareness. And once those skills are more developed, we can then respond to the world with more wisdom and more discernment, where we're not overreacting with anger and with frustration because we've been able to create the space to feel those very valid feelings. And then we're able to respond with more grace and more poise. Think of a samurai where every action that they take is swift and very energy efficient. And they're not wasting time letting their emotions get out of control and using aggressive tactics. They just have this very calm response. And when we come from that place, then people realize this person is legit. They're coming from a powerful place within themselves, and I instinctively know to respect that. So imagine 2 responses to the same situation where someone has crossed a line with you. Maybe they have made demands of you that you can't or don't want to fulfill, or in some other way they have done something that has violated a boundary of yours that maybe you haven't communicated. And so one way to respond would be, "How dare you? You can't do this to me." And that is a very valid reaction based on feelings of being violated. And it's certainly better than rolling over and playing nice and being a doormat, but it doesn't communicate the same level of power as if you were to say completely calmly, in a completely matter-of-fact way, "This is how I am treated, and I only expect this standard of treatment." An example of a spiritual warrior that often comes to mind for me is Dumbledore from Harry Potter. So Harry Potter fans might resonate a lot with this example, where Dumbledore, for those who don't know much about Harry Potter, Dumbledore is this powerful wizard, but he always comes across as very calm, as very gentle. And there's this one scene in the 6th book where Harry and Dumbledore are working together to find out more information about Voldemort's Horcruxes. And Dumbledore assigns Harry the task of acquiring a memory so that they can put the puzzle pieces together for this mystery. And Harry forgets to do it. He has other things on his mind. And Dumbledore doesn't get angry. He doesn't raise his voice. He simply says, This is a really important task. It's the most important thing we could ever do. And Harry immediately is like, yes, sir, absolutely. This is a priority for me. I will get it done. Perfect example of a spiritual warrior. So now you may be thinking, well, that sounds great to get in touch with the spiritual warrior aspect of myself, but how do I get from point A to point B? How do I go from reacting with anger to responding from this place of grace and poise that we've been talking about? Well, it's a practice that involves two components that are very practical, very doable. The first one is to find a safe place to really feel your anger and let it move through you. And I have a separate video that goes into depth about some physical, somatic practices to release anger that you can access here. But the essence of this is that you allow yourself to feel the bodily sensations of your anger. So not getting into the story aspect of your anger, but really feeling it as a bodily sensation and allowing that to move through you. And that will help to ground you. And then once you've done this, and you can have this be a regular practice, but then you'll layer on top of that two other things. One is to practice what we call interception, which is your internal sense of how your body feels. So as you go about your day, you can ask yourself questions like, what is my heartbeat like? How does my breathing feel? How do my arms and my legs feel? Do they feel light or do they feel heavy? These are just examples of questions that you can ask yourself to activate the sense of knowing how you feel within your body. And then the second part of this is to practice what we call proprioception, which is your sense of your body in space. So as you're walking down a street or when you're in a crowded place, ask yourself, where are the boundaries of my body? And that might be the physical boundaries, or they might actually extend beyond your physical boundaries, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then ask yourself, how much space do I have between those edges of my body and other people or other objects? And this is also why I really recommend a daily movement practice, because you can also practice interoception and proprioception as you're moving. You can ask yourself, how does my body feel inside as I'm moving in this way? What is my body like in space as it travels through space as I'm moving? That's why I really like yoga, because it combines all of these elements in these practices. And as you continue to practice interoception and proprioception, you will begin to experience those extrasensory abilities that we talked about earlier, where you're able to sense the world beyond what you can see, hear, taste, and touch. You may anticipate, you may feel someone approaching you before they actually do, or you may sense moods and emotions around you while still staying grounded in yourself. And as you start to train yourself into this more grounded and embodied state of being, you will be a true spiritual warrior, where you are able to move and speak with power and with grace, where you're able to take up space and to communicate your requirements for how you are treated. And you'll also have a moral compass that you can trust for how you treat others, a moral compass that is based not on trying to be good, but on giving from a full cup where you feel fully satisfied within yourself because you're fully within your own body. So I invite you to go ahead and practice body awareness on a daily basis if you're not already, and see how this changes your experience of relating to others and to setting boundaries for yourself. And feel free to like this video if you found it valuable, and to subscribe if you want to learn about more ways to feel amazing in your mind and your body. And also a perfect complement to this video is the one I mentioned about very practical ways to release anger. Lots of love, and hope to see you soon.